All right, something a bit different today. Back in the shed with the 180. Can't remember if I've mentioned this in a previous video, but I've been having fuel pressure issues with this. Been a bit of an ongoing problem. So the base pressure should be about 40 to 45 psi at idle, and it's about 20 at the moment. So half of what it should be, which is less than ideal. Don't really want to drive it like that. No point risking the engine. So so what I did today, I took the injectors into work and chucked them in the ultrasonic cleaner. So I've cleaned the injectors right out. I should say this car's on E85 as well, and it's full-time E85. It's not flex fuel or anything like that. So with a little amount that this car gets driven, like I do start it from time to time and try and get it up to temp, but yeah, E85's renowned for being pretty nasty in the fuel system. So just wanted to make sure the injectors weren't blocked and partially open and dribbling pressure out or anything like that. So ultrasonic cleaned those. So I'll chuck those back in now. Then I'm going to pull the fuel filter out and check that, which in hindsight, I buried right down there. You can't even see it. It's underneath that fuel pressure gauge, if you can see that down in the dark there. I've buried the fuel filter down in there because it's out of the way, and I was just sort of running out of room in the engine bay. In hindsight, I probably should have put it down the back of the car in a more accessible spot, but is what it is. So I'll pop that guy out and be checking that. So I'll get to chucking these injectors in first and then check the fuel filter. So got the fuel filter out of the car now. It doesn't look too bad, to be honest. So it's just this speed flow jobby, ethanol rated. Can't remember the micron on this, but there's a little bit of crap in there, but it's, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that well on the camera. There we go. So there's little bits of debris in there, but absolutely nothing that'd be causing a pressure problem. It's not blocked by any means. The actual housings, there's a bit hard to see in there. Same thing, there's just a little bit of debris floating around at the bottom, but it's very, very minimal. So I'm just gonna give that a clean out, chuck it back in, and then I'll just double check all the hose connections. I might pull the pump hanger out as well. I'll just double check the hose that goes from the pickup tube to the pump itself. Make sure that hasn't split. I've had that happen before, so make sure it's not leaking fluid internally in the tank. Anyway, I'll get to cleaning this stuff up and chucking it back together, and I'll probably pick this back up once I'm ready to pull the pump out. So just got done cleaning the filter out. There was literally next to nothing in there anyway, but anyway, it's nice and fresh. So it's the beauty of these things. You can just pull them apart, clean them, bung them back together, and you're ready to go again. They are a little bit on the pricey side to buy initially, but once you've got one, you just, it's all stainless steel mesh in here, so you don't need to replace the element. Literally just pull them out, clean them down, and chuck them back together. So we'll chuck this back together, and I'll get it back in the engine bay, and then pull the fuel pump out and just check over all of that just to make sure that's all good. And then I might just check what the pressure's doing. I'll get to it. So it's the next day now. battery ended up going flat in the car, so I couldn't start it to see what the pressure was at. So but yeah, the filter's back in, the injectors are all in, so I might just fire it up and yeah, have a look at what the fuel pressure's doing now before I commit to pulling the pump out again. Okay, so that seems to be holding pressure pretty well while it's running. It was bang on about 40 psi just then. Yeah, the only concerning thing is when I shut the engine off, it drops a lot of pressure really quickly. So it should hold a residual pressure in the system for usually 5-10 minutes before it starts substantially dropping. That dropped right off. Basically, as soon as I shut the car off, it was somewhere between 10 to 15 psi. So still leads me to believe that there's potentially a leak in the tank, maybe, because I can't see any of the hoses leaking. There's no fuel dripping on the floor. So yeah, it's a bit odd. So anyway, I'm probably going to pull the pump out now anyway. So yeah, I'll get to that and probably catch up after I've got it out of the car. All right, got the plate off of the for the fuel sender. Yeah, so it just goes to show how basic a fuel system you can get away with. You don't need massive fuel cells or crazy overcomplicated systems. This is literally I think it's a 460 litre per hour in-tank pump. S13s did have a problem with the swirl pot in the bottom of the tank breaking off, and then you start getting surge issues and all that sort of stuff, but the pot's still attached to this tank, as far as I'm aware at least. We'll pull the pump out and find out in a sec, but yeah, haven't had one surge issue in this car at all, and it's literally just a standard hanger with a aftermarket pump in it. And then yeah, it's just got the relay wired in because it was getting voltage drop to the pump, so the factory fuel pump power triggers the relay, and then that's got a direct feed from the battery. Yeah, just goes to show you can get away with a pretty simple fuel system if you need to. Anyway, I'll get pulling this pump out. Okay, so got the pump all pulled apart. So this hose is a little bit munted again. I've had a couple of problems with these. So this is E85 submersible fuel hose. So yeah, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up, but it's starting to separate through the guts. So you sort of see it there. The inner layer and the outer layer are starting to separate. So what I think might be happening is the ethanol's getting in between the two layers and then pissing out the bottom there back into the tank, because I can't find any splits in the actual hose, and you can sort of see, you can see how much it's swelled up as well around the clamps. So I did use the incorrect clamp on here. That was my bad. Supposed to have a proper EFI hose clamp on it, but I kind of ran out. So yeah, you know, the EFI ones are smooth on the back. They don't dig into the rubber as much. But yeah, I think that might be what's happening though. I think the fuel's getting between the layers and then leaking back to the tank, because that's on this bit. This is the side that goes onto the pump, so it sort of sits up there like that. The pump goes in the bottom there, so I'm assuming it's pumping up and then getting between the two layers and then pushing back out the bottom into the tank. So I might just ditch the rubber hose altogether, even though it is E85 rated, and I might try some PTFE, the Teflon lined hose. Yeah, I'll give that a whirl, see how that goes, because this is the third time I've replaced this hose now. I'll also take this to work tomorrow, and I don't have a multimeter here at home, but I'll do a test, just make sure it's not doing anything weird like shorting out to the body or anything. Okay, so another day's gone by. Took the pump into work and just thought I'd check out a few things. I ended up cutting the hose open, and I think I found the cause of the problem. So right up the top on the pump, I'll try and get it in the light, it was this barb here. I don't know if this thing's got focus on it. It's got a really sharp edge on it, and there was a second barb here which I've filed off and cleaned down with some emery paper. So when I cut the hose open, what I'd found is where the hose clamp was sitting, because there's not a great deal of room between the top of the pump and there, where the hose clamp was sitting was directly around the top of those two barbs, and it actually lacerated the inside of the hose. Yeah, so I'm assuming that's where the leak was in the actual hose itself, letting it bypass and go back to the tank. So kind of glad I actually found something. I left the hose at work though, unfortunately. I was gonna show that in the video, but I don't have it with me. So yeah, I've just got some Dash 5 PTFE hose. I'll chuck that in there, and yeah, should be good. So yeah, I'll get it all back together and in the tank, and yeah, we'll check the pressure out, and fingers crossed it's all good. Okay, so got the pump all back installed, new PTFE line on there, and everything's all buttoned up now. So yeah, fire it up and see what the pressure's like. Yeah, that's much better than it was yesterday. So it's about double of the residual pressure now. So it was dropping off to about 10 yesterday, just a hair above 10. So now it's sitting at about 22 and it hasn't dropped yet. So yeah, I might just sit here and watch this and see how long it holds that for, because it should hold about, yeah, it should hold a decent amount of residual pressure for around 5 minutes before it starts to really drop off. So yeah, if it sort of floats around 20 for the next 5 minutes, I'll be stoked. So anyway, I'll pick this up in a couple of minutes and see how it's going. All right, it's been about 5 minutes now, and try and get the phone in there. You can see that. So it's sitting just above 17 PSI now.
So I've dropped from 22 down to about 17 and a half. So yeah, not quite 5 psi in 5 minutes.
I'd say that's pretty good. Wrapped with that. So yeah, glad to have the fuel pressure dilemmas sort of wrapped up for now. I'll be keeping an eye on it regardless, but yeah, big relief. I'm still sitting above 15 psi. That's so much better than it was yesterday. For anyone that's interested, I have no idea when I'll be driving the 180 next. Waiting for Mallala to release their calendar. I'd really like to do a Mitsuri event out at there. I should probably look after. I'll do that after I finish doing this video. If their calendar's out, I'll have a look at what dates are available. But yeah, if I have to do a practice night, I will. But I just prefer the Mitsuri events. Just get more time. It's a little less stressful. If anything goes wrong, you got plenty of time to sort it out. You're not limited to a couple of hours at the end of the night. So yeah, really keen to get out and actually get some driving done in the 180 this year. So yeah, as soon as I can stop spending every cent I earn on that thing, yeah, buy some tyres and a couple of jerry cans full of V85 and head out. So yeah, I always suck at finishing these things, not really sure how to end them, but yeah, like always, thanks for watching if you made it all the way to the end, and I'll catch you on the next one.